What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new video from myself, Keenan at FX Cultivation. In this video we'll be taking a look at a few charts. We'll be looking at fundamental and technical data, and then we'll formulate a few plans for potential trades for the coming weeks and weeks. So I do hope you enjoy this video. Let's get to it. So firstly, we'll be taking a look at the dollar index. This last couple of months, we have seen the dollar moving towards the downside, making its way towards the 103 level. As you can see on the daily time frame, the dollar is actually forming a possible reversal pattern towards the 103 level. The last time the dollar has reached this low was in June this year. If we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we do see the descending channel quite clearly, and we actually do see a descending wedge that the dollar index broke. We could see the dollar potentially making its way towards the top of this descending trend line, but I do feel that the dollar could be actually gaining some momentum and making its way to the 108, 107 level is a high possibility. Later on in this video, we'll be taking a look at just some fundamental data in regards to PPI and CPI. But just having a brief discussion about that now. I do think that a rate hike is possible for the next discussion. With inflation just increasing and increasing and actually maintaining a increased level for such a prolonged state, and the possibilities of a increase in inflation or just a inflationary period for the foreseeable future, I do feel that a rate hike has a high possibility of actually playing out. And if we do see a rate hike, I do feel that the dollar index could be getting some bullish momentum and making its way towards the 108 levels. But that, for technical analysis for the index, is that if we take a look at the 1 hour time frame, we do see this wedge pattern formed and actually broken. It broke this descending wedge actually this morning or late last night. The amount of volume or the impulsiveness of that candle in comparison to the other candles doesn't actually point towards a move to the top side. I believe if we get a nice consolidation around this current level and a break above this possible consolidation area here and a break above the 105.4, we could be seeing the dollar index making its way towards this descending upper trend line. So next we have Euro USD. So the Euro USD pair in this last year or so has been making its way towards the downside quite aggressively, and since September we have been seeing bullish momentum in this pair. The possibility of this move from September all the way until now being overextended is quite high, and with the CPI and PPI fundamental data last month and this coming week, I do think that this pair could be potentially doing a fake out before moving towards the downside, towards the 1.02 and maybe the 1.0 level. But if we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we do see a ascending channel with a little ascending wedge that price actually broke out of. So, taking into account the fundamental data and the possibilities of future rate hikes, I do think this pair could be making its way towards the downside. But short term, I do think that we could be getting a consolidation period with a break of this consolidation period towards the bottom of this descending or ascending channel. Excuse me. And if we get a break of this ascending channel with a little bit of consolidation, we could be making our way towards the 1.0 level. Next, we have Euro JPY. So if we take a look at the overall direction for Euro JPY, we can see that it's making its way towards the upside. Although we have this descending trend line, I do think there is a possibility that we will be able to break this descending trend line and continue even further towards the 146, maybe even the 148 level. So if we go to our 4-hour time frame, we do see the Euro JPY actually in a consolidation phase close to the 144.5 level, this turning point over here. So if we do get a break above and close and a little bit of a continuation pattern forming at around this level using this resistance as future support, I do feel that we can potentially be making our way towards the 148 level. But as of now, I don't think that there is enough momentum for the euro to actually be able to do this. If we take into account the inflation rate in the yen, I do think that the yen could potentially be making its way towards the or so if we take a look at the inflation rate in the yen, I do think that this pair could potentially be making its way towards the downside before we actually move upwards. So, with inflation rising and rising within the Japanese economy, it is there's a big likelihood that the banks could potentially be loosening their stance on their current monetary policy, and that could lead to the yen moving, the euro yen moving towards the downside. And if we just take a look at overall market sentiment with risk on assets and risk off assets, I do think people will look at the yen as a safe haven, yen including the Swiss franc as safe havens, and they could potentially be gaining some momentum just for the safe haven aspect, not necessarily for their overall market performance. So I do think Euro JPY will be making its way towards the upside, but in the near term future, I think there's a strong likelihood that we could be consolidating towards the downside or even just consolidating sideways before moving towards the upside. Next, we have the Canadian dollar against the yen. So, taking a look at this pair on the daily time frame, we did see that the yen actually gained some momentum. Now, if you can remember last week, we did go into a US dollar Canadian dollar trade, which actually stopped us out at break even. Canadian dollar is sort of a dark horse at the moment because you don't know if it's going to gain momentum due to external factors or internal factors, and the yen as well, as we just mentioned with inflation, CPI, and rates. So, taking a look at the CAD yen pair, we do see it's currently close to previous support it had back in May. We are actually consolidating within this period with a nice impulsive move to the downside. If we do see a continuation pattern forming, I'll be short CAD yen. But if we take a look at current price action, we do see this descending channel. Now, usually the descending channel is followed by a reversal to the upside. I do think if we just take a look at certain key turning points within the market, I think we could potentially making our way towards the 103 area if the yen loses momentum and the CAD gains some momentum. I am currently still in my Australian dollar yen trade. I'll be looking to open or add another position for that one as well. I'll take a look, I'll show you guys where that trade is actually at the moment. So just coming back to the Canadian yen pair, I do think that we could be making our way to the upside or top side. Maybe not as far as the 103.4, maybe close to the 101.9, 102 area. Next, GBP JPY. Last week I did mention that I am short GBP JPY just for the safe haven aspect of the yen. No real fundamental drivers behind that, but overall fundamental view of where certain economies are potentially heading towards. If we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we do see the GBP yen pair making its way towards the 168 spot 8169 area in a nice consolidating ascending trend and channel. Doesn't look like there is a lot of motivation for the GBP yen pair to be making its way towards the upside as of now. But with the break of this descending trend line, I do think that we could be making our way towards the 168169 level. Taking a look at the 1-hour time frame, we do see a consolidating phase over there with a clear break. So if we get a break above this high with a little bit of a retracement and a consolidation period with a break above structure, I would potentially be opening a trade to the top. But again, with the yen gaining some momentum, this could in fact just be a ascending wedge before making its way down towards the bottom part of this ascending wedge and potentially making its way towards the bottom part and turning point at 164 and maybe even 164 flat. So my thoughts on the US dollar Canadian dollar pair as of now is quite bearish. I do think that we could be seeing the USD Canadian dollar get some downwards momentum. If we just take a look at basic price action and oil and some of the market moving fundamental news coming out this week, although I mentioned, I am bullish on the United States dollar. I think short-term bearish momentum. If we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we do see a break of this descending channel. Currently, as you can see over there, I entered at the break of this little wedge over there. Stopped me out to break even, so I just want to delete that. We do see a consolidation period after this impulsive move. This could in fact be a continuation pattern if we break to the top side with a nice impulsive candle, making our way towards the 1.38 level and potentially making our way towards the 1.39 level. So if we take a look at our 1-hour time frame of this current consolidating move, we do in fact see that the USD Canadian dollar is within this sideways move, with support being close to the 1.35 level and a resistance forming at the 1.36 level. So I do think we could potentially be making our way towards the top if we get a break above the 1.36 level, 1.37 level. As of now, we do see a short-term bearish price action with this ascending channel. If we get a break below this, I am looking to short the market towards the previous support touch at 1.35, and then I'll assess from there, potentially going long there until we get to the 1.37, 1.38 level. So just a brief look at my trade at the moment, AUD JPY. We are still in this ascending channel, as you can see over there, sort of an expanding channel, which I don't like too much. But if we take a look at recent price action, we do see that the AUD yen pair is making its way towards the top. If we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we do see a nice impulsive candle over there. This could potentially be a continuation pattern forming at the previous highs that it'll use as current support, and then making its way towards the 93.8 level, or the previous high over there. But that's that from myself in regards to the technical side of the charts. Next, we'll be taking a look at some fundamental news and factors that I'll be taking into account moving forward. So let's switch on to the fundamental side. So taking into account the fundamental data coming out this week and last week, we can see that tomorrow is quite a important week in regards to CPI and core CPI. If this is coming out positive as expected, we could potentially be seeing the United States dollar increasing in value, although they are expecting a decreased CPI, which potentially could mean that the rate hikes would be on hold. We could see the dollar just moving sideways, and then the currencies as the yen and the euro actually being the driving factor in the pair. So my eyes will be on tomorrow's CPI data, which would potentially set us up for the trades that I mentioned in the earlier part of the video. So here's a few snippets I took from investing.com, which is quite interesting, taking a look at the CPI and inflationary data. So I believe tomorrow will be an interesting day and could be the start, or could be the driving factor in most of the trades that I mentioned, or ideas I mentioned in the earlier part of the video. But that's that from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. Still getting into the swing of things, and can only get better from here. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.